This episode of Boss Rush After Dark is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Boss Rush After Dark, the alternative podcast show for the Boss Network. It's me, your boy LeRon Dawkins, back, and as always, my wonderful, beautiful co-hosts are back with me as well. Please give it to the floor for the wonderful, the beautiful, the exciting Stephanie Clemar.
Oh, thank you so much. That made my night.
If there's anything, I've been told I have a way of words, so like if I can just make everybody's day a little bit more special, that's how it is. And speaking of making people special, there's the handsome, the talented, the kick-ass go-getter, Mr. Corey Deering, always back with us.
I feel okay tonight. Thank you, LeRon.
Hey, I'm trying. Somebody's got to cheer everybody up.
I'm in a great mood. I'm just.
Oh yeah, no. We're all
tired, and my Red Bull is empty. So.
Well, you know what? I think this has been a good week for us because we're not just woe is me in our text stream chats. Not this week at least. Yeah. Even though the usual banter of hump day jokes was kind of missing for this week. But
Yeah. Today
I was scraping
busy.
by.
What's that?
I'm scraping by. Busy.
Oh, yeah, busy. Yeah, busy. Yeah, busy is the word, and busy, adulting. Also, speaking of adulting, I recently talked to a financial planner, and it was one of those things where it's like, yo, you gotta get your shit together. Like, I turned 48 in less than 2 months and stuff like that, and to think that I look at how I basically I moved out of the house at 18, and the fact that I look back at my financials, where I'm at in life and stuff like that, I was like, man, I was like a fucking man child for 30 plus years. Like, what the fuck, and it's kind of scary, especially now that I'm in the point where it's looking like I'm going to be this long-term relationship I'm in is probably going to be the last long-term relationship I have, for basically the rest of my life and stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm getting married anytime soon or nothing like that, but as long as I'm not doing anything stupid to fuck it up, I think I finally found my life partner.
Aww.
And so so yeah, talking to financial planner and stuff like that, I had to make a serious cut in, because I got to work on getting my credit fixed and stuff like that. And I've got a couple of financial obligations that I want to get done, if not by the end of the year, within a year's time from now. So I cut loose my personal trainer. I've been with that guy for 6 years. I looked at all the money and stuff, and and in all honesty, he was not a bad personal trainer. The guy actually did his thing. He pushed me and stuff like that. It was just I guess I did not want it bad enough because I could have a rocking ass fucking body, and stuff like that. Being with the guy for 6 years, I should have been going to physique competitions and stuff like that, or been doing warrior dashes or Spartan races and stuff like that. I dread doing a 5K, and the 5K is only 3 miles. Stuff like that. So yeah, it was one of those things. It was like, man, basically after seeing it spelled out for me, I was like, man, I've wasted a lot of money on just that. And the sad part is everybody doesn't need a personal trainer. I want to say 95% of people who have personal trainers don't really need personal trainers, because the information and stuff is out there. And this is not me turning around telling people that are listening to us right now, hey, cut your personal trainer loose, because those people still have to make ends meet too. So, you're a revenue source for them, stuff like that. But what I am saying though is there's a lot of resources out there. Some of it is a chunk of it is bullshit, because you will fall into the wrong sort of trappings, and all of a sudden, wind up being, anorexic, bulimic, or having like serious body dysmorphia issues and stuff like that. Not to mention just mental and physical strain and fatigue and stuff like that. Yeah, but it was just one of those things, and it was like, man, it hurt and it was embarrassing to see like how much time and money I had spent in on a personal trainer. And like I said, this is not me saying personal training is a bad thing. It's just
Well, when
that
you're budgeting, you just
when
have
you're
to start
budgeting,
to yeah.
yeah, like because like because what you got to realize is like the money you spend now could be something that makes that is fortuitous to you like in the long road. And think this is 6 years. Like I'm not gonna throw the dollar value out there, how much money like all that equated to, but my life could have been a little bit different. Just saying that much. Yeah, and bearing that in mind, I just want, now I really want my life to be different. Like I said, 40. I'm 47 right now. Retirement age is like normally in the United States is 65. Like I got to push that back a little bit to 70 now, unless I grind and unless I do some stuff that is not like above board.
Mhm. It it often takes the right life partner to put your ass into gear. Like when I met my wife, like I was in debt. I was spending money either that I didn't have or that I, was running my bank account dry, and, she kind of put me on the right path in a way. So,
Mhm.
it's if I didn't have her, I would probably still be doing the same thing. I would probably be doing this out of a shoebox somewhere. You know, or I would be one of
Well, I
those
said,
stereotypical loser people who lived in their parents' basement because they had no money.
well, that's the other thing too. I think men fuck up a lot more than women do, but
Yeah.
I also feel like like the difficulty levels are different for men versus women and stuff like that. I'm not saying that women have like the easiest fucking ride in the world or whatnot. Because like depending on where life circumstances hit women, like they have it just as rough as men do and stuff like that. But what I do know is that when we grow up, if our parents aren't doing the right things, we do not get the right skill sets to be adults. It's kind of hard to blame it on our parents because usually our parents did not have the right parentage or the right mentorship and whatnot to like get the shit right as well for themselves and stuff like that. So it's one of those things, like it's kind of scary, like to wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, and be like, what the fuck have I been doing?
Mhm.
At whatever age you are, like that shit can hit you. That shit can hit you in your late 20s. It can hit you in your mid 30s. It can hit you. It can hit your late 40s. Shit, yeah, and it's wild, and I look at some of the circumstances of my life. My dad passed away from a heart attack when I was 19, and I know that put a mental block in my head somewhere because like you see that and you're thinking that's your future and stuff like that. So of course when I right as I eased into my 40s, I was like, oh, this is it. And I've outlived my dad, and and well, as kids we're always supposed to outlive our parents, but the fact that my dad died in his 40s and stuff like that, it's just wild to me. Like adult children are not adult newly adult children are not ready to like face that type of loss.
Mhm.
I,
Oh,
I feel
absolutely.
I feel like if my dad had died when I was still in my teens, well, technically I was 19, so there. But if he died in my early teens, I probably would have handled it a little bit better.
Well, yeah, because you're just starting to like cut your teeth on adulting, so to speak. So it's kind of
Yeah,
like, and you're also starting to understand like, whoa, 40s is not meant to be the time where you're supposed to die. It's,
exactly.
yeah. In it, as much as my parents were very hard on me, I guess my parents kind of framed it as, well, you're a girl or a woman, female, cis female, whatever. My mom's like, I want, other than the tiger mom of you have to be a doctor or else, but she also kind of told me, admitted to me when I went through my divorce, like, I wanted you to be financially successful. I whipped your ass to be this way and to, do the whole 401k, whatever, blah, 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 all this shit. She goes, because I don't want you to ever rely on a man
Hmm.
or a
Hmm.
partner, but my mom would never accept it if I was with a woman. But with her idea, like she never wants me to be dependent on a man. So if in the event I got a divorce, which I did, I technically could at least be afloat.
Hmm.
So I mean, I guess that's one good thing, but it's tough.
Yeah. Now you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that about like like not relying on a man, because I feel like that's a wonderful quality that women should have, because like, okay, so I'm an IT guy in my professional job, my professional life and stuff like that. And like I've come across a lot of widows, or even worse, widowers, that like their spouse was doing everything for them, you know, or well, not everything, you know what I mean? But basically the life was being lived because like somebody else was doing that lifting and stuff like that. And it's wild, and it's scary to see like happening in front of your eyes, because it's like man, it's like I don't even know how to put it into words, like how like like someone's whole world is their spouse, and all of a sudden, like they can't function, as an adult with responsibilities when that spouse has passed away and stuff like that. You know, or even worse, that spouse walks out on them and stuff like that. It is ew, ooh, I don't even know how to begin.
I'm glad you shared that perspective because I'm going to be honest with you. There are times when I look at society right now, and even
Hmm.
just some of my guy friends or exes that I'm friends with who they've kind of dated, like a lot of women, not all, because we're not doing the generalizing thing, but I guess sometimes get envious when I see some females, they do utilize their beauty or whatever to get easy money from mostly men. And it's passing, like, and I'm only human, right? I actually
Yeah.
sometimes get jealous. I'm like, "Why do I have to earn money the old-fashioned hard way by busting my ass at a job that, stresses me out, when I could easily just." I hate, like, I know I'm being very crude, but it's after dark, right? Like, I'm tired and I'm cranky, like, just date some dude to pay for some fake tits and I'll be set. Like, that's easy money. Sometimes I'm envious of that, but then I get over it and I keep doing my pharmacist job. So
You realize you're a better person than that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, like the fact that you're lined up, you have the title doctor in front of your name, like that's fucking amazing. And I'll be honest with you, like a lot of men actually a lot of mature men, because like maturity hits men in certain phases. Like most of those 20 somethings aren't doing the shit they're supposed to be doing. But like by the time most guys cross into their 30s and definitely get into their 40s and stuff, they appreciate that stuff and things like that. And like like I said earlier, the world is kind of a hard place, for both men and women, and stuff like that. And yeah, when you're saying like beauty fades and things go away and stuff like that and stuff like that, it definitely hits women a lot more crucially than it hits men, because and we're not gonna do this whole like it's not even battle of the sexes, but you know what I mean? Like the whole scale is about men are from Mars, women are from Venus and stuff like that. We're not gonna go there tonight, but like
well, biochemically, just saying, but
yeah,
yeah, I'll stop there.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like men and women both have pretty privilege, but like pretty privilege, on the female side is insane, because like like men no matter what age they are, like I've seen 18-year-olds fall all over themselves for women just as easily. I've seen like 50 and 60-year-olds, men fall all crazy for like a pretty woman and stuff like that. And stuff
I
like
used to
that,
do that.
that's
I used to do that.
and that's environmental conditioning, for women. Like when women realize, hey, I've got this, they really like dig into it,
Yeah.
until
Mm.
something happens, like we can go into all the stereotypes, like black don't crack, like I don't look my age. Even though I just admit I'm turning 48, I don't look 48, and
Can
that's
I
not me bragging,
can I
you know.
ask an ignorant question? But
Yeah.
I'll throw my I'm half yellow card, so I guess I can ask this question. Like,
No.
I always would consider that a compliment, right? Because
Mhm.
Asians are kind of also known to relatively age well. But like,
Yeah.
is "black don't crack" like still racially insensitive to say? Like I've never said it, but I've heard it, and I'm like, well, it's a compliment because man, they
It is,
age really
yeah,
well. But I'm like,
yeah.
is that probably not politically correct to say?
It's not politically correct only in the sense that black people have come a certain ways to where like we don't want to be objectified for our looks and stuff like that. But at the same time, even when someone turns to me and says, "How old?" Oh man, black don't crack. Like I love hearing that shit. I love hearing it.
Okay,
Stuff like that.
yeah, I get it because like if I were in your shoes, it'd be like, well, we want to kind of stay away from like sayings like that or and being objectified. But hey, yeah, hell yeah, I look good
You
for
know,
my age.
the only time I police people on their syntax, is when I know for sure like it's being thrown at me a certain way,
Mm,
stuff like that, because I mean, like I feel like people we no longer know how to deal with candor, we
mm,
don't know how they will candor, whether it's in the most absolute form, like, like, hey, you need to get your shit together, or like you're gonna be in a world of hurt, by this time next year, that type of candor, or even the candor where it's like, you're a really pretty person and you need to appreciate that. Like there's so many different ways candor takes place and stuff like that. For the most part, candor is just like the most absolute or the most reaffirming thing you can tell somebody. And sometimes it is a really hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, because sometimes I can't take compliments the best. Like people will turn around and tell me, "Hey, you look good for your age," and I'm like, "Thanks," or better yet, like when people find out that I served in the United States military and stuff like that, I always hear "Thank you for your service," and it always throws me off because I'm just like, I just did a thing that I wanted to do,
mm,
like, and yeah, I stood up, I raised my right hand, swore, the oath to like God and country and stuff, and things like that. I took it seriously back then. I still take it seriously now and stuff like that. But it's crazy because like I wasn't looking for the glory, and stuff like that. Just like I have a hard time taking compliments, even though sometimes you go to my social media and I'm fishing for it's crazy, but people can't deal with candor, in certain ways, whether it's like it's the slap in the face candor, or it's the no, like like this is really what it is candor, stuff like that, and people can't do it.
mm,
I feel like that's a lost art, But
yeah.
at the same time, I'm kind of glad that we've evolved as a society somewhat, because like men can't just go around pinching women on their asses and like catcalling on the street without some type of consequences and stuff like that. Just like like I think I think women are starting to figure out that there are certain things that men won't allow for them to have done to them because it's a woman, like they're dating them and whatnot, stuff like that. It's kind of the world is shifting and changing and stuff like that. And I'm kind of glad that like we'll always be a patriarchy as far as society goes and stuff like that. But I like seeing how it evens out sometimes. Wow, that was a tangent.
Sorry, I definitely did not help. But to because we were kind of talking about like adulting and
Mhm.
mortality kind of comes with it because as you become an adult, you acknowledge your own mortality and the mortality of
Yeah,
others. Did we talk about if any of us have written or done wills yet? Because I still haven't. And I'm like really dragging my foot on that because I'm like, what do I have to?
I
What do
haven't.
I have? I don't.
I don't have jack shit, so I don't. Like it's like all I know is I have a checkout plan. Like for example, if I die right now, my best friend in the world knows to come confiscate my computer and wipe everything off of it and stuff like that. We have each other's passwords and stuff just in case like one of us kicks the bucket and stuff like that. There's just that like there's stuff that my friends know to do that I've never told my mom and my sister. Like, hey, this is what needs to be done if something happens to me.
That's smart.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/bossrushmedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.
I mean, there's no wild ass sex toys that anyone has to dispose of. Thank God. No.
Oh, I
Can you
didn't even.
imagine if that goes home to your parents in a box of your personal effects?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Oh no. Listen, no, like, this is a serious problem. Listen, I'm still alive, knock on wood. I'm still alive, and I have people redoing my bathroom, which is in my bedroom, and I still have,
Uh
like, I just have, like, my bed restraints just, like, flopping out of my bed, like, I don't tuck them in because no one goes in my room, and I'm like I walk in while they're in there, I'm like, "Ooh, I should probably hide those."
huh. I'm sorry, I had to get him turn my fan on. I'm sorry.
It's alright. Yep.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me getting up to hide some paraphernalia.
Wow.
Oh man.
I don't know, Corey, have you like, I know it's a very personal question, but, like, do you have a will? Because usually, like, at least my parents told me, I don't know if this is, like, an old-fashioned saying, like, "Oh, when you get married, that's when you write your will." I'm like, "Okay, that's weird."
We don't have a will, but we have like a I mean, we have like a financial advisor slash person who kind of handles things like that, and we're like getting into that territory of like I mean, maybe we should probably talk about it. And this is gonna sound bad, but it's not. But like my wife and I are so rarely together, during like, going places together or whatever, because like I'm usually at work and she's usually with the kids. So like, you know, knock on wood, if something happens to one of us, it's probably not going to happen to the other one because when my wife and I are together and we're out, we always have the kids
Mhm.
too. So like, and that's another scary thing to think about. And I don't know if its own, but like, you know, if something happens to me or my wife, like the other one is probably not going to be with them at the moment, you know. So unless we're all together. So
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just I'm the type of person where if there's something uncomfortable or slightly scary, I would just rather rip that band-aid off. But I think
mhm.
writing a will is one of the few things that I drag my feet on because I'm absolutely just terrified of like just conceiving
Yeah,
the thought
it's
of death and what to do afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a scary thought, and like I know my parents have like written and rewritten their will like 20 probably like 20 times since whatever, just because certain things happen to certain people, like not to get too dark, but like my cousin has cancer and she was in the will, and my parents have kind of rewritten it to kind of not include her because sadly she's probably going to pass away before them at this point.
Mhm.
Although we did talk the other day and her scans are actually came back really great, and
Wait, is there a
she
possibility she's in remission? Because I know last time we had a
no
conversation about this. Okay. Okay.
no, but the I don't want to give her personal information out, but basically,
No.
like one of the masses is like totally gone, but the ones in her lymph nodes are not gone. But she went from like we spent the Christmas we found out thinking she was gonna die within 6 months to like she actually
That's why y'all took her to Disney. That
yeah
your recent trip, right? Yeah.
yeah to the to where like she can actually have like a 8 to 10 year plan now
Mm,
because
Oh
she's kind of
wow, that's amazing.
yeah, well, she's kind of changed treatment styles and she's taking better care of herself, and she's doing better in that regard. So uh she's doing better. um so we just saw her this past weekend at my cousin or at my son's birthday party, and she's like she's at that point to where like if you didn't know you wouldn't know,
that's great.
which is like
Just cherish that time.
yeah.
Yeah, and I can only imagine, not to, I don't want to put the spotlight on her, but like the mental fortitude to go through all that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I gotta give her a ton of credit. Man, she's been through a lot, and this was just like another thing that she's had to go through. And not that not that she's like a saint or anything, but none of us are really. And I'm glad she's like able to live her life in a somewhat normal capacity now, because the last 2 years have been kind of, or the last year and a half or whatever, has been kind of real dark. So,
Yeah.
and like
Well, that
that's a sad thing too, is like when somebody gets sick, you're like, you only like you feel bad for them, but then you start getting into that mindset of like, how do you like, how do how do I feel about her being sick? And it's like, we should probably pay more attention to her, you know.
yeah. Yeah. It's human nature. It's human
Yeah.
nature because like we take that type of mortality, like, like we take it in stages. First we dread for the fact that we're going to lose that person. Then we turn around and we start thinking about like how your life is supposed to be with or without, with them as they're dealing with this. And then the third stage is then you start thinking about what if it was you.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. So I've got to do better about going to the doctor more often. I mean, I went last year and I everything came back fine, like, and in that sense, but
All that
okay,
caffeine, all that caffeine you drink, and you're telling me your kidneys are not like gapping for air?
nope, I'm fine, perfectly fine.
Because my doctor just told me to chill on caffeine for a little bit.
Oh,
The
wow.
the only thing that came up was like I have low good cholesterol,
Oh,
and
HDL.
yeah, so that was like the
That
one.
happens to that happens to everybody.
Yeah,
like
but it,
you
it
you flip.
happens.
You have high good cholesterol for like a hot minute, and then like a decade later, all of a sudden it's low.
Yeah,
Well,
and
cardio can help raise your HDL.
yeah,
Don't start me.
I
I
so,
just said
but
I'm the
that
person that dreads a 5K, and you go about cardio, even though cardio
it's
can be done without running.
Just
Like
saying.
I really just want I really should just scratch some pennies together and buy a treadmill and just do that. What is it, the 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 20% incline, like just
Oh,
walking.
mm,
yeah, but the low good cholesterol is like it's common in people that are going to experience heart disease at some point, or
Mm-hmm.
and that runs on my dad's side of the family, and cancer runs on my mom's side of the family. So like,
And I
yay.
got the trifecta. I got I got I got cancer and diabetes on my mom's side of the family, and I got
Mm,
heart disease on my dad's side of the family. I got the trifecta.
mm,
ugh.
mm,
Well, actually, that reminds me, I don't have family history of cancer of any kind, but a little over a year ago, I had a abnormal pap again, and this time it was not big or bad enough to surgically remove it yet. So there is in, I believe, like the NCCN, like cancer treatment guidelines, that if you are like at stage 0 or whatever, there's a year called wait and watch, because there is a slight chance that your body
I
could
hate that term.
I
I
wait
know.
and
hate that
watch. Yeah,
term.
your body could theoretically fight it off and overcome said stage 0 type abnormality, but I'm getting nervous just because I'm past a year, because I had to change doctors because my old doctor went to a different practice and his different practice is farther away. So I'm like, crap, I need to find a new person. And then
Oh,
they
now it feels like it's starting over.
starting over in that, and like, sure, maybe like another month isn't going to kill me, but the fact that like I'm already on a wait and watch, I'm like, I want to test myself now to see if I am getting worse or if I'm good again, or if I need to have my
Mhm.
cervix removed. Like, let me know.
Mm.
I have my appointment Monday, so
Yeah,
okay.
my wife's going soon for hers as well.
I don't know. I'm done with kids. Can they just take the whole damn thing out? Like, just take it out.
Mm,
It's kind of serious, but kind of not. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, adulting. But to take it full circle, since we started before we recorded about like not burning out, you know, um, I hate to say that deaths and illnesses kind of made me more mindful to be grateful for every single day. Every day when I close my eyes, I say, you know what? I'm glad I was alive today. Just the fact that the weather was halfway decent and I had a couple good interactions and I have my son, like, thank you for today. And I don't know, I'm trying to get in that mindset of just being grateful for uh, every day that I have. Um, and that I get to do what I like to do. Because, for example, gaming, that's a hobby, that's a privilege, right? And I'm like grateful that I get to do that and experience that.
Hmm.
Yep. That's basically this podcast is why we live, guys. You that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like podcasting, even though like even though it can be such a chore sometimes, I feel like it's the break that we need. Well, maybe not we. I can't speak for you guys. I feel like it's the break that I need. Sometimes. Even though, like I said, like podcasting can be a bit of a stressor.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys, like, do editing and stuff. I'm not even involved with that, so I can't even speak to that, but I know sometimes I'm like, "Oh, crap," I have a big stint of podcasting on Wednesdays, but, like, once I get into it, I'm like, "This is just me talking to my friends. I love it."
Uh, yeah. And even though we talk to each other all week.
And I also love that too. Just
Yeah,
saying.
we talk to each other all week.
Yeah, we do. That group chat, it's a good time. Every time I hear like the notification on my laptop when I'm working at work and it's the group chat, I'm like, "Ooh, who said what? What's going on?"
Yeah, even though sometimes I'm not the most talkative, like I'm always seeing it. I'm like, man, like y'all need to stop.
So I do feel bad. I'm like, I'm blowing up these guys' phones, but I'm glad you guys still like me.
Corey, have you ever gotten the urge to be like, Stephanie, shut up?
No.
Me neither.
No.
Oh,
I don't I mean, I don't really I like it when people text me because I don't interact with a lot of people outside of you guys anymore, really. Like it's just how life happens, right? So I like it when people text me, even if I'm annoyed. Like, make me feel better. Ed, on the other hand, oh, that guy. I'm just kidding. Sometimes depends on
You
the
just
day.
immediately set that guy's ears on fire.
I know. Anyways, good times adulting.
yeah. Actually, maybe this could be a topic for another day. And I'm sorry that I have to go back to the downer part of the topic, but because we talked about adulting and wills and stuff, have you guys heard about was it? I want to make sure I say it right. Body composting.
Hmm?
Okay. All
No,
right. I haven't.
no, but that sounds rather ghoulish.
Right? So I'll
Mm.
keep this short. Maybe we can revisit this another time. So of all things that, everyone has a thing that they're passionate about, whether it's, like women's rights or environmentalism. Like everyone has like a thing that they're like super, like a cause that they care more about than others, even though we care about them all. Like everyone has their thing. For me, I'm deep down like I'm a tree hugging hippie. I'm really big on environmentalism. Um, and so, as you can imagine, like everything else, the internet, the phone, the computer, they pick up on what you like. So, I get a lot of pro environment ads.
Mhm.
And then one day I was scrolling through Instagram and an ad was for like body composting. So I guess like there's this green movement of whatever. I'm afraid to click on it. I'm like, I mean, on one hand, I'm like, it makes sense, quote unquote, because like what happens to all the animals' bodies in nature when they die? They just kind of circle of life. But like it's hard for my brain to comprehend the idea of body composting. Um,
Well, I'm looking it up right now.
oh, okay, well, thanks.
Uh, okay, so here it is. Human composting is the general transformation of a human body into soil. Um,
Mm,
recompose places each body in a stainless steel vessel, along with wood chips, alfalfa, and straw. The microbes that naturally occur on the plant material and on in our bodies power the transformation into soil. So this is honestly what it was like, back when we were just burying our dead.
yeah.
Like back before like we got civilized. And you know what? I feel you guys know, like I have a brain that works kind of differently. Like I don't get all sentimental about stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those people who's like, you know what, save the funeral expenses on my ass, like cremate me and
Mm.
just spread me somewhere, because like don't buy a fucking plot of land for me and stuff like that, because like if there's an immortal soul, then my immortal soul is going to wonder who's going to desecrate my fucking body or my grave, and whatnot, stuff like that. Like I don't even want to know what's going to happen to me, like when my body is on the slab, just waiting to be embalmed and all that stuff. Well, no, because like we see this stuff on the news, like someone took liberties of a dead person's body, and is like, you're fucking sick.
Yeah.
Remember that violent little kid that they scared him? He's like, Jesus Christ. That's the way that's the way I feel reading some of this stuff sometimes.
You know, I
Yeah.
I just because I compost, well, not bodies obviously, but I compost, use cut up unused vegetable parts, but like, so my brain's trying to figure out how that works, because when you compost for your garden, you compost just plants, eggshells, but you're not supposed to this gonna sound so fucked up. You're not supposed to compost meat. You don't compost meat. But
Yeah, yeah, like
aren't
what do you
we
do?
aren't we just meat bags? Like
Yeah,
what?
yeah, 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 we are. Yeah.
So I don't know. I
See,
I don't.
and that's the other thing too. Like people, I've in my 47 years of walking this planet, like I had to learn in like the last, like, let me see, I'm 47, so like by the time I was age 15, I had to start learning how to like switch my scientific brain off, because like when I tell people, like, hey, like we're just glorified animals and stuff like that, people took offense to that, and it's like we're fucking top of the food chain. Like we don't you look at the news, you don't think we're the top of the fucking food chain, because someone's getting mauled by a fucking elephant in the fucking jungle because they were doing something stupid or whatnot. It's like come on, like we're the apex predators here. How are we getting fucked up by like a flock of birds and shit, stuff like that. But yeah, like I mean, yeah, like, we're literally walking, like like meat and bags of water and stuff like that. So how the fuck, you know?
Yeah, though that and LeRon, you called it. That's my science brain, because I'm thinking of like how we humans compost for garden and agriculture, the do's and the don'ts, and then like, what are we? Oh my gosh, like existential crisis. And then, not to bring religion into it, for those that practice and for those that don't, obviously it depends, right? But like for me, like, I guess, and I don't know, like, maybe this means I'm a bad Catholic, but, like, I wasn't sure how death stuff happens, like, with Catholics, like, do we allow cremation? I found out that they allow cremation, but, like, you have to be buried or something, and it makes me wonder, like, oh, I wonder how religious groups.
Wait, do they bury the ashes, or do they bury you first and exhume you and then burn and then cremate you? I don't understand.
I
This
I'm bad and
we're
probably should
we're
research
too
that, but
as a society, we're too sentimental about shit. Like and like I said, I don't know for sure if there's a soul, and like if there's a heaven and hell or whatnot. Like like I don't really prescribe to like the religion and stuff like that. But there's a part of me that's agnostic enough to say that there's probably some higher power out there, but who knows what they are thinking about, like when we die. They're probably just like, ha ha, like experiment number 1,675,000, so on. Kick the bucket, move on,
I
next
mean,
project.
I believe in the afterlife, but like for me, even just removing specific religion, just so it can be more broad as a topic, in general, maybe as humans, where we are animals with like self-awareness, that intelligent thinking and just culture. I do believe in respecting, like, you don't desecrate a dead body, like that's kind of
Yeah,
common
yeah,
sense.
I
So
yeah, I don't believe in that either.
so I would figure,
I don't care how good those shoes look.
right? Like, when I'm dead, and if I believe in an afterlife, and if there is an afterlife, I don't really give a fuck about what ends up with my body, as long as you don't desecrate it, whether you bury it or burn it. Just don't
Exactly.
play around with it. Just whatever. So I would think, and for me, burning it and spreading ashes would be the cheapest, most environmentally friendly, blah blah blah. But now going back to body composting, and not just speaking of my own religion, but like all religions, there's so many of them. There's Islam, Judaism,
Mhm.
Christianity, and then the ones that are polytheistic, that believe in many gods. I wonder what their take on body composting is going to be, because religion of various kinds have certain stances. Some you're not allowed to be cremated. So like, how can you imagine having that discussion? Well, what do you think we should say about body composting?
Yeah, there. Yeah, it reminds me of an episode of Star Trek I watched recently where something was definitely foul play going on. It's like one of the characters that was in that episode, and the family, claim like their customs and their religious rights for why like an autopsy should not be done, but an autopsy needed to be done, so someone had to break the tenant to find out what happened, and stuff like that, and it became an incident, but it's at the same time it's like, how far do we go to respect culture to do the right thing? For example, look at all those graves, look at all those grave sites and grave plots and graveyards and all that stuff and stuff like that. Do you know how much we could have given back? Do you know how much land could have been reclaimed? You know, and stuff like that. And this is not me being. I always feel like I always preface this stuff. It's not me being like an insensitive asshole or stuff like that. Honestly, our plant our planet and our environment so much that I think about the fact that us as human beings, we get in the fucking way. I mean, there's a reason why it's 84 fucking degrees, on April the 5th. Like normally in Virginia, like it's usually in the mild 60s.
You're in the 80s right now.
Yeah, it was the high today was 84.
Yeah, it was 82 here
Holy
today.
Yeah,
shit!
the high today was 84, and tomorrow is going to be. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Tomorrow it will be 83 degrees again. It was 86 today. It'll be 83 tomorrow, and then it'll be back into the 60s on Friday, and going to Saturday it'll be in the 50s. Yeah,
Mm.
and to think this was uncommon. Like I've been living in Virginia. I've been living in Virginia since 1994. I've I'm not gonna say I'm always keen about the weather, but I've paid attention to the weather. Like normally right after Halloween, it gets cold. Not like it gets wintry. After Halloween, but usually after Halloween, that's when actual fall sets in. Like the temperature drops and all that stuff, and things like that. Um, we were still rocking in the fucking 80s, almost 90s. Like this year that just passed, and a few other years before that. Um, Also, like if it didn't snow anytime in December, it would always snow in January. Usually the first 2 weeks of January, and then it would snow again like a month later. And usually and if the January one wasn't the heavy snow, the February one was the heavy snow, and then that's it. Stuff like that. We got snow this year, but it was not heavy enough to stick. And this was like the balmiest fucking winter I've ever been. There were days when I did have to wear a coat and whatnot, but there were days when people were literally like, dude, you do know you're black, right? I'm out here in shorts and and damn near a tank top out in January.
Mm. Mm.
Hmm.
Well, so yeah. Now, if you haven't heard of body composting, now y'all do.
Yay.
No. It's good you mentioned it.
Composting.
Speaking of
Anyways.
which, I can't wait till gardening season. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. What type of gardening do you do?
So, part of the pandemic project was to build raised beds because I was not having a successful garden just putting shit right into the ground. And now I know why, because when I was digging up, I don't know who the fuck did this, but I was like digging up garbage underneath the soil. I'm like, what happened?
Oh wow,
I was not happy. So I did raised
wow.
beds, and I've done very well. So I've grown zucchini, peas, beans, corn. I've grown corn. Definitely not the size that you see commercially. They're really small, but they're so good. Um, what else? Carrots. So my son and I, for the last few years, have had successful gardens, and we've been doing our best to compost as well. We have a rain barrel. Like I'm just really trying to, the knock on wood. Like the harvest has been very decent, and it's so cool to just go and play in the dirt and see shit grow.
Mhm. That is kind of cool. That is kind of cool.
All right,
Nice.
LeRon, take us home.
I think we're done here. We did actually have a couple of like some really fun topics to talk about tonight, but I think we kind of like got into our feels and was talking about like just life incidents and stuff like that. I will say this because you did ask about like if we've done wills and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like before I had like hooked up this financial planner, like I was in the process of writing an insurance policy for myself and stuff like that. And guess what? The financial planner was like this isn't this right now, like at 47 years old, like it looks like it's a necessary expense, but it's unnecessary to your monetary goals right now because like like at this point, like at my age, like the premiums every year is going to go up anyway, you know, so like yeah, basically this is gonna sound kind of gold diggery, but kind of gold diggish, but like like if like my partner becomes my life partner and stuff like that, I just become his dependent and like get insurance through his job, and get
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Things kind of have a way of working out.
That's
I just
nice.
gotta make sure that I stay decently healthy, so like we're not getting hit over the head by some exuberant fucking like premiums.
Honestly, another reason why I'm dragging my foot on wills is because I refuse to give lawyers any of my money, and I know there's like ways to do it on your own, so I need to figure that out. I just don't like lawyers.
I looked into it. The problem is that like you do one thing wrong and
Yeah.
like your family winds up dealing with probate and shit.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I've learned the last few years probate is a fucking unnecessary nightmare.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine,
Uh,
lawyers,
word of
you
advice.
win.
Word of advice for people. Word of advice for people out there that's always like the government's always trying to get our shit. Like if you don't get your shit right, they will have your shit.
Stupid government.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show up tonight. Well, I promise you, next episode, we will bring the fun topics and stuff like that. But like, hey, we're all adults here and stuff like that. And adults gotta do adulting things and stuff like that. So hopefully, you gleamed a few things from our conversation tonight. Corey, Stephanie, did you guys have any final thoughts? Any final words?
No, you're right. I mean, they've all been good. I'm not like looking back and be like, man, blah. But we've been tackling some serious stuff. I think we need to like go
Yeah.
back and read some more Conquered by Clippy or like naughty video games.
Um, forgot about that.
I swear, if we weren't trying to get hit by copyright claims and stuff like that, we should read an excerpt, like one of the most raciest excerpts from like a story or something, like on the show, and then like a no context version of it, and then just have the others like just analyze what we just listened to.
Hmm.
Man. Also, guys, episode 69 is coming up soon.
Oh
So,
my gosh, we need to do something special with that.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, we could run with that.
So,
All right.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Boss Rush After Dark. Once again, we want to thank you all for hanging out, listening with us. Be sure to check the show notes, whether you're watching the YouTube version of this show or if you're listening to the podcast version, because you'll find all the information for how to get in contact with us. Do that way. Also, thanks to our patrons out there. Like if you're subscribed to it, if you're one of our Patreon producers, we appreciate it and stuff like that. Also, check the information in the show notes for how you can become one of those as well. And you know what? This has been episode 63 of Boss Rush After Dark, the show where we talk about the stuff that's not always content appropriate for our anchor shows on the network. Besides, like, would you guys come to the Crossroads or Pal Block if you want to hear us talk about insurance and body composting? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You want to hear about the Super Mario movie. You want to hear about the God of War live action series and stuff like that. You know what? That's what those other shows are for. All right, everyone. We're signing off. Y'all have a good night. On behalf of Corey and Stephanie, we love you. We'll see you next time.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.